Hello, this is Rogue SMG and let's see some advanced burp tricks. Usually when you start hunting, this is the first thing that you'll do. Turning on advanced scope and adding your target into it. We don't have an option here as I already did it, but you'll probably see an option not to log any out of scope request in the history tab. Now when you go to history, you'll only see the requests that have specific target keyword in them. This will include all the target subdomains as well. This way, your history is quite clean and manageable, seeing only the target related relevant stuff and nothing else. But if your target uses third party services like OAuth or S3 or something similar, that domain will probably be different and thus won't be logged into your history. This way, you might completely miss testing those parts of your target. To overcome this and still keep everything clean, install Flow or Logger++. Both the extensions are available on the BAP store for the community version as well. What it does is that it will include the requests from all the sites and all the sources, including intruder, repeater, etc. We have nothing quite significant to see here, but you get the point. This way, you have a separate clean history as well as see all the function specific requests, including all that third party stuff from Flow. You can modify it to proxy or log requests from a specific source or site. So here's a tip. Clear the flow history before starting to test a particular feature of your target. Let's say login, and then click around everything related to that. Once done, clear flow history, pick another functionality, repeat. Another nifty hack here is that you can use Flow to search through burp request, which is only a pro feature. This right here is an insanely helpful thing to do. If you didn't know this, you are now obliged to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Do it now. Everyone who's using Burp for some time now knows about match and replace, but this is how you generally would be using it. Matching a response body for the value of false and replacing it by true. But there's a ton of shit you can do. As an example, select type as request body, match for the keyword boom cause we are ultra pro hunters, replace it with any XSS payload, and add a relevant pro comment as well. Now in any field, enter boom and execute that function. Go to the history and check for the auto modified request. You will see that the replacement is done. Similarly, you can make various rules for different types of attacks or vulnerabilities and try it out. This way you don't have to move here and there, copy pasting stuff, making your small little brain process everything at once, thus enabling you to focus more on other productive things. Many of you might be using a VPS for recon or fuzzing, but what happens when some request doesn't work or some tool just throws unexpected results for some reason, or you just want to see or understand or debug what's going on in real time? You probably keep banging your head against the wall trying to figure out what's wrong. And here enters BobSuit. You can use SSH tunneling or remote port forwarding to achieve that to a certain extent. Yeah, that sounds scary, but it isn't. In simple terms, the following command will create a SSH tunnel from port 8888 on the VPS, forwarding the traffic to port 9995 on the local machine. Now a lot of tools like FUF, SQLmap, etc. supports HTTP proxies. Just run the tool normally, use the proxy flag and provide the proxy URL as localhost with the port as 8888. Open burp on your local machine and from the proxy options, enter the port as 9995 and you can either enter the IP of your VPS or just select any source. And there you go. All the requests that the tool makes from your VPS will be logged in burp history for you to further look at them. And of course, the same is also visible from Flow as well. Also, before you bombard me with irrelevant questions, note that those ports were just used as an example and you can obviously select any appropriate port that you want. Consider a typical web application with 2FA implemented. You land on the homepage which has a function to log in. You enter your username and password and it asks you for an OTP sent either on your phone or your email. But you notice that the OTP here is just 4 digits. So the first thing that comes to your mind is 2FA bypass and you can feel the sudden adrenaline rush through your veins. You immediately go to that request in burp, ignore everything else and send that to intruder. The payload position is set to the value of OTP and the payload type is numbers. With high hopes and a little spark in your eyes, you click on the start attack button. And the adrenaline turns to sadness and anxiety as it just throws 400 response code with the response body saying invalid CSRF token. You still didn't lose hope and tried to bypass the CSRF token with all possible ways, removing the token, providing random characters of the same length, null bytes and arrays and god knows what not. But all in vain. So finally with a heavy heart, you just move on. Please stop. People over at Portsfigure have worked their asses off to provide us with such an incredible tool for free. At least of some respect try to just read, learn, or explore whatever you are using instead of doing stuff blindly and taking everything for granted. Enough ranting, back to the topic. Let's see what's happening here. Let's look at the first endpoint, which is being called at /login. If you look in the response, there is a CSRF token along with the username and password in the login form. When you click on login, a post request is sent to /login with the username and password along with the CSRF token that was present in the form. And for the ones who are confused, you cannot steal or get the CSRF token of any user in this particular case directly without doing anything because it is random and present in the page source of the /login page itself. And in the following post request, it just fetches the token from the page and is sent along with the credentials. Still confused? Listen to it again. Now if the credentials are valid and accepted, it sends back a 302 found response and we are redirected to /login to endpoint to further enter the OTP. Note that a new session cookie is set as well to identify the logged in user, which is Carlos in our case. This page again has a CSRF token which is sent along with the OTP in the post request as you click login. And since this token are random and dependent on the previous request, a brute force attempt fails. To overcome this, along with a plethora of other features, there are burp macros. Simply put, these are just a group or sequence of requests which are triggered as the macro is executed. To define a macro, go to Project Options, Sessions and Macros. Click on Add and another window is opened with the burp history. From here, we'll press Ctrl and select all the 3 previous requests which are dependent on each other as discussed in that particular order. Then click on Test Macro to verify that the requests are executing properly. Now to trigger the macro, we'll define that as a session handling rule. Think of it as a switch to turn on the macro based on some conditions. Click on Add Rule Actions and run a macro. Select the appropriate macro from the list shown. Nothing is shown here as we just have a single macro defined. There are other options as well which you can explore and configure to further fine-tune any settings based on your requirements. It's not rocket science. Once done, click on OK. Next, from the Scope tab, select those where you want the macro to trigger and the scope as well. Finally, click on OK. Now let's go back to Intruder, start the attack again and see what happens. And boom, we get a 200 OK response and our requests are successfully executed. Let's follow ahead on one of the previous steps and use Flow to see what is actually happening. As you can see, each time a post request to /login to endpoint is executed, it triggers the macro and in turn the macro executes the previous 3 requests as we defined and successfully obtains a valid CSRF token. And finally, that valid CSRF token is used in the post request with the OTP, making our brute force attack work. But don't just fire a burp and brute force away. The takeaway here is that don't give up on something because it seems to have no workaround. A simple Google search for the same issue would have given this information. All you need to do is think for a bit and get that lazy ass up to look for things. This brute force was just an example. You can use macros to circumvent protections like CSRF tokens, which might be stopping you to perform even complex attacks like SQL injections as well. There are some awesome blogs and write-ups available for the same. And no, I won't mention the links in the description. I'm not here to spoon feed you. I'm here just to guide you. If you want to be a hacker, start acting like one and go find it yourself. I might sound rude now, but you'll thank me later. There are certain sites which are maybe blocked in your country or corporate networks, or maybe you are just using some public Wi-Fi which keeps throwing ads on random web pages. The usual workaround that you would do is to use a VPN. But since your bio says security researcher, aren't you better than that? You can use your VPS as a SOCKS proxy server along with some burp magic to do the same. Explaining SOCKS is out of the scope of this video, but basically a SOCKS proxy allows you to proxy traffic through a tunnel. It allows proxying traffic from any protocol. Use the following command to use your VPS as a SOCKS proxy. -d flag opens port 9991 on your local device as a SOCKS proxy, and all the HTTP traffic from your device can be specified to go through that SSH tunnel to the destination server. Once that is done, open up burp, go to the user options, connections and SOCKS proxy. Enter host as a local host and the port as 9991. Again, yes, this can be any appropriate port that you like. So for all I care, you can go lead and satisfy your inner researcher. Now go back to the browser, turn burp proxy on and refresh the page. Congratulations, you are now a step closer to being a better security researcher. Oh, and as a final note, you matter to me. So get vaccinated, get your parents vaccinated, wear a mask, wash your hands, and especially if you are from India, stay the home and donate whatever you can. Thank you.